within the first week of becoming the Commerce Minister. And I genuinely felt that this is an excellent body, because ultimately, unless we all combine our efforts, we will not be able to get the desired results. It's often said that together, what we can do is not just the sum of parts, but it's much, much, much more. And I have no doubt that this continuous engagement will give us new ideas, will give us opportunity to understand what are the issues before industry, before different states, and what we collectively can do to resolve our mutual issues. I had requested the officials to make sure that the action taken report of the last meeting is circulated to everybody. And I do hope all of you have had the benefit of receiving the action taken report from the last meeting. If anybody has not got it, please take it from the officials and ensure that we have correctly captured the essence of our discussions, and hopefully we've been able to move in the right direction and get some things going as discussed in the last meeting. Some of the things that clearly come to my mind straight away are things like some amendments were to be made to the rules regarding anti-dumping, by which the least duty rule was to be removed. That was one of the discussions that came out in the last meeting. A lot of significant progress has been made. Public consultations, 2 rounds probably have been held. And I think by the 20th of this month, new rules will be notified by the concerned officials. That's the deadline we have set to ourselves. And similarly, we've discussed about export credit. Significant progress has been made. I'm just waiting for the Honorable Finance Minister to take a call on some of the issues that were discussed. I must gratefully acknowledge the presence and the support of Mr. Kanungo, Deputy Governor, RBI. A big round of applause, because they were so spontaneous in their support to us. Literally one phone call to the Reserve Bank of India with certain requests, and proactively and very speedily they came forward to support our efforts to expand availability of export credit. And now we shall shortly be coming out with the contours of the discussions that have been finalized between Reserve Bank, Finance Ministry and the Commerce Ministry. We had also taken a decision after our interaction last time to merge both these bodies, the Board of Trade and the Council for Trade Development and Promotion. I, for one, believe too many bodies will only mean too many meetings and probably less outcomes. So we have merged both these bodies so that we can discuss the same issues at one shot. Maybe have longer meetings, but the outcomes will be more collective, more comprehensive. And therefore, there will be only one body now, the Board of Trade, instead of 2 bodies. We'll try to have more and more holistic consultations between the states, industry and the government. And as we are meeting once again within a quarter, within 3 months of the first meeting, I hope this interaction can continue to be on a time frame which is at least once a quarter, so that we can take faster action and not wait for an annual meeting or a biannual meeting to sort out the problems that come to our attention. At least I felt the last time's meeting was very, very fruitful and very educative for me personally. And therefore, I believe we shall meet every quarter with an action taken report and a proper agenda circulated in advance, and also with more participatory conversations amongst all of us. I had made certain ground rules last time. I'd like to reiterate it for the benefit of those who are coming here for the first time. And my officials, and I hope the officials from other ministries also please note. First of all, the level of participation of the states and the other ministries will determine the cooperation and support that we will give to those states and the ministries. If the honorable ministers of different states are very busy and don't find time to come for our meetings, without due cause known to us in advance, then I think when the states have a problem, I may find myself very busy to be able to respond to those states. So a particular thank you to all the ministers who have come here from the different states. And I hope the message will go to those states who have for the second time not attended today's meeting, that I think our officials will become very busy when they have a problem that they will highlight to our ministry in the future. And this, I'm not going to repeat it the third time. I think twice is enough. There's some sayings around it. I don't off the cuff recollect. Maybe Hardeep ji will recall. Once is this, twice is something else. Something Arun ji had also brought out, something like that. But I think enough has been said on it. But all those states who are not represented at the ministerial level, I hope the message the officials, if they have come, will convey to their ministers that it has been taken note of quite adversely by us. Any state which is not even represented by officials at senior level, kindly bring to my notice later on. And if the minister is also not there and a senior official is also not there, then it's a matter of serious concern about that state. I may have to talk to the Chief Minister. Similarly, on the ministries which have a stake in export, the same ground rules would apply, because ultimately all of them are taking out very valuable and precious time. It's not as if only we are busy and the industry representatives and everybody else is just sitting free to come whenever we want them. But their issues are important, and certainly commerce alone cannot sort them out. So I'm grateful to all the secretaries who have attended today. Thank you very much. And thank you, Deputy Governor Mr. Kanungo. And all those states which are not represented at senior levels, I think again this message should also go to all those ministries. Secretary, you may like to call up your colleagues, those who are expected in today's meeting, that I for one take it very seriously when they are not able to come, unless they had intimated in advance for very solid reasons why they could not come. And those who are not represented, even after the secretary at senior level, additional or joint secretary, those issues to be brought to my notice. Well, we are working under very challenging circumstances where the global trade is full of uncertainties, challenges, trade wars. And in such circumstances, we have a choice, and that applies to all of us, including me. Our choice is to become despondent. Our choice is to say, oh, what can we do? The global problems are overtaking our domestic capabilities, and therefore become complacent and accept things as they are. Or we can choose to decide that this is the best time and the best opportunity that we could have ever got to expand our business, expand our domestic capabilities, expand our technologies, get in for better scale of operation, and take and catch this opportunity. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have today, where global trade is facing challenges, but we, who are only 2% of global trade, have an opportunity to expand our footprint in markets and areas which are having problems amongst themselves. And that is the choice I appeal to all of you to reflect on, to see how states can encash that, how different ministries can encash that, how industry can encash that. And towards that end, let us collectively discuss, and some of the agenda items today are directed towards that, to see what we can all do to contribute to making exports truly feasible, viable, competitive, technologically superior, good quality, and capture the markets which I think rightfully belong to India. There are several products where we have ceded space to other countries. There are several products where, for whatever reason, and whoever may be the cause of it, without getting into that, we can get quickly, capture those quickly. This is the time to expand scale, because unless there's sufficient domestic extra capacity, one tends to remain within the comfort zone of domestic market and not expand into international markets as much as one should or can. And therefore I appeal to everybody, let us forge, and I'm quoting Prime Minister Modi when I say that, let us forge a model of cooperative yet competitive federalism chart a common course to progress and prosperity, unquote. And therefore, when we work collectively and collective ideas come on the table, for example, the Honorable Prime Minister has given the vision of transforming each district into a potential export hub. And it's a visionary thought that Moradabad can become the export hub for a set of products which are unique to Moradabad. And then how can we all collectively work to make that happen? If Bengaluru has certain strength areas, can we all collectively work to make sure that that becomes a great center for those export of products or services? If Alfonso mangoes have a great demand in the rest of the world, and frankly, forget each individual product. We have probably, 25 million or more Indian diaspora living in different parts of the world. Probably the figure must be much more. 30 million, my secretary tells me, that 30 million Indians living in different parts of the world. And they've done well for themselves in most territories. In the United States, in Europe, several of them in Southeast Asia, they've done well for themselves. They care for our country, their country. They want to engage with India. They want to use products. I'm sure some of us may have children abroad. They'll still love to have dal makhani and tandoori paratha. They'd still love to have Alfonsos which they miss when they're out of the country. And there are so many products, so many services that each one of us can look at, expand, have a larger outreach program. And my colleagues in the ministry and both our ministers, collectively all of us, are willing to engage on every issue, on every particular assistance that any state, ministry or industry body may require, and find solutions. We are not going to be deterred by sometimes domestic issues. This is a government which is willing to take bold steps. I don't think I need to expand on that. I think the first 100 days have been full of very, very challenging and very bold decisions, unparalleled in the history of independent India. And similarly, on the economy front, on the export front, we are willing to take bold decisions, bold steps. And I would urge all of you to speak without fear. Whatever are the challenges or issues you want to bring to the table, so we can all apply our mind and see what's possible, what we can do. Some of the states have done very well in the logistics report that Deloitte has just come out with. Some states are lagging behind. Can we all have a model which, again, Prime Minister Modi very often propagates, of the good states, mentoring some of the states which are lagging behind, provided those states are willing to accept it, and work collectively to see how we can support the entire logistics framework to improve and get better. We have a very competent Special Secretary, Mr. Sivaselam, who's heading the logistics division. And I would urge all of you to interact with him and see. Some of his ideas are truly very, very innovative and very good. Let's work together in that spirit of cooperation to improve our logistics and bring down the logistics cost to 9% from its current levels, which may actually make our exports more competitive. The $5 trillion economy cannot be complete unless we once again get back to the 19-20% export levels. So we are really looking at $1 trillion of export in the next 5 years. And that's something which is very eminently doable. It's not at all beyond imagination. But we need to dare to accept a large target. Unless we accept large goals, large outcomes, we are not going to be able to reach anywhere close to that. So I would urge all of you to seriously start looking at what can be done to achieve $1 trillion of exports to boost the entire economy and ensure that we have our fair share. One important point that Hardeep ji has very rightly explained to me and has helped me understand is that all imports are not necessarily bad. We have to categorize imports which are desirable and imports which are undesirable. For the undesirable imports, we can have a very quick, rapid action plan to see how we can improve domestic capabilities and capacities and cut off and get out those unnecessary imports. But there may be some imports which actually help our export competitiveness, which actually help the nation serve its consumers better. In the telecom revolution would never have been possible. We couldn't have been a country which consumes the largest amount of data by the people. We couldn't have really had a mobile phone in everybody's hand. We couldn't possibly be now talking of 4G proliferating across the country and introducing 5G if we had not engaged with the rest of the world. Of course, one can say we would have liked to see domestic manufacturing come in much faster in that. And therefore, today's deliberation should also discuss what to do with the undesirable imports and how to work towards import substitution on what was considered as desirable import. Coal mining, for example, what we can do to somehow bring coking coal into the country's landscape. We have it, but it's all under fire in Raniganj and Jharia. What can be done for that? How can we increase our thermal coal mining? All of these issues will help us take our exports forward, bring down our imports, bridge the gap, and empower India to be a global power in the trade, international trade. Export credit, we are very concerned, has fallen, and I assure you that very soon we'll come out with the contours of a very vibrant program which will particularly support MSMEs and more importantly will make available foreign exchange export credit available to as many of you who are willing to take foreign exchange credit at very, very competitive rates, something like sub 4% rates for foreign exchange credit. All bankers are on board and we'll soon come out with very robust guidelines on that. The RBI has been very, very supportive and to my mind the ECGC has come up with very innovative and very practical solutions which will empower banks to lend more to the export sector. So ECGC policy is also being revitalized and relooked at to make it more robust, to give bankers more comfort to lend more, and I'm quite confident we'll see some very good expansion of export credit in the days to come very, very quickly. So I hope we have very fruitful and meaningful discussions today. The agricultural export policy is another area where states can support us a lot. That policy is already out. We are engaged in finalizing our industrial policy by the DPIIT and the foreign trade policy by Commerce. Please give us as many suggestions as you can so that we can come up with both these policies very quickly. They need not wait for deadlines. So I know April 1st used to be the normal date for foreign trade policy and some press asked me yesterday. But then I thought to myself, that's still 6 months away, 6.5 months away. If all of you cooperate and come up with some good ideas, we may not even wait 6.5 months and we can finalize the foreign trade policy faster. The industrial policy is waiting for some inputs from states and industry, and we are talking to the finance ministry to see how we can make that more exciting to attract international players to come to India and set up business here. Prime Minister Modi's concept of working jointly with the states and even with local bodies going right up to the district level is a work in process which I think if all of us collectively work faster to achieve, we can have fantastic outcomes. We have 700 odd districts in the country. If 700 districts conspire to achieve $1 trillion goal, just imagine how simple the task will become. I mean, literally there is no district in India which cannot contribute to this. And then when we come to services and then things like tourism, you feel ashamed when you go to Thailand, from where I've just come after the RCEP and ASEAN negotiations, that India has nearly 4 times the number of tourists going to Thailand than the number of tourists that come to India from Thailand. It's very, very, you feel very apologetic about those numbers. And I think it'll be great if we can all work collectively also to look at those soft spots which can be great income earners and job generators. Things like tourism can really revolutionize infrastructure in India and the way we plan our security mechanisms and our entire promotion of tourism. One good idea that came up was don't promote the country, promote concepts, promote destinations, promote specific packages. I thought that was a very good idea. For example, the Buddh circuit. I think that's one area with 500 million Buddhists in the world. And I think everybody would like to go once at least and do the Bodh Gaya circuit. The Bodh Gaya, Lumbini, near Kushinagar, the other place, Esse kya naam hai? Sarnath. And then Banaras will be the starting point or an entry point to the Buddh circuits. So you can really create a fantastic outcome between UP, Bihar and the center if we work on the Buddh circuit very seriously, very quickly. And just imagine if we can get the Buddhist world to say that at least once in the lifetime, each Buddhist will come to visit the Buddh circuit or experience the Buddh circuit, and we make that such a enjoyable experience, then there are 500 million people waiting there. And if we say that they should ideally come on their birthday, then we'll have an equal tourist flow right through 365 days. There's an idea that Sudhanshu Pandey gave me while we were in Thailand. Thank you, Sudhanshu ji. It was a brilliant idea. If 500 million tourists are waiting to come to India, get them on their birthday, make a special package, and imagine what an outcome that can result in. I mean, today morning when I was getting ready, I was thinking we should actually promote collectively the states and we in the center, along with the Skill Development Ministry and Tourism Ministry. We have at least 100,000 jobs waiting for translators and interpreters. 100,000 at least. बढ़ जाएगा जैसे जैसे tourism बढ़ेगा. But 1,00,000 लोगों को नौकरी सिर्फ ट्रांसलेशन में मिल सकती है. क्यों ना हम HRD मिनिस्ट्री, स्किल डेवलपमेंट, राज्य और केंद्र सरकार मिलके कोशिश करें कि हम ये ट्रांसलेटर्स और इंटरप्रेटर्स की ट्रेनिंग अच्छी, हाई क्वालिटी, इंटरनेशनल लेवल ट्रेनिंग. मतलब हम ग्रैंड पैलेस देखने गए, एक मिलिट्री का अफसर हमें टूर दे रहा था. मैं समझता हूं मेरे 55 साल के जीवन में इससे अच्छा किसी ने मुझे टूर नहीं दिया है कोई टूरिस्ट प्लेस का. रामायण की जानकारी शायद उनको कई हमारे भारतीय नागरिकों से ज्यादा थी, जो सुंदर रामायण 500 मीटर में डिपिक्ट किया. आधी से ज्यादा चीजें वहां पे भारत के मूल की देखने को मिलती हैं. तो मैं समझता हूं अगर दुनिया देश जाती है वहां वो देखने के लिए, तो जो ओरिजिनल है वहां तो हम और बड़े रूप में इसको प्रभावी रूप में लोगों को यहां ला सकते हैं. तो लेट्स वर्क टुगेदर कलेक्टिवली with new ideas, with a new spirit of engagement, and with a new enthusiasm, believing nothing is impossible. And together we can achieve that 1 trillion target in 5 years. Don't get into the calculations that you see on television. Oh, if you're looking at a 5 trillion economy, country will have to grow at 12%. Today it's growing at 6-7%. Don't get into those maths. Those maths have never helped Einstein discover gravity. If he had only gone by structured formulae and what was past knowledge, I don't think there would have been any innovation in this world. Why is it that India files only 40,000 patents and other countries like China file 3 lakh or more, maybe 3 million patents? Why is it that our startups still feel threatened by an angel tax? So it doesn't exist. There is no such thing like an angel tax. It's a provision meant to control the shell companies in some states or some places, including my own city of Mumbai. The whole idea of the Section 56 in income tax was always only those shell companies. Why do we get carried away by the media which has made a hawwa about an angel tax? Maybe 2-3 people wrongly got a notice, that can be resolved. So I think let's go with a spirit of confidence, a spirit of understanding, and a confidence that this government led by Prime Minister Modi resolves issues in real time, doesn't wait for issues to fester for long. And that's the message I hope will be carried back by all the industry participants to your constituents, by the states to your governments, and by the different ministries who are joining us here today to their respective areas. Let's engage with the world with confidence. Let's not get scared that FTAs are a deterrent. Let's see how we can use FTAs. Let's see how we can use the opening up of other markets to our advantage. Let's bring the competitive spirit back into our manufacturing, into our engagement with the world. And I know that we can, in the next 5 years, not only achieve $1 trillion export per year, but also become a trade and current account surplus country. That's what we are pitching for. That's what we are going to achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for those motivating address. Now we will start the formal deliberations. May I request media to please excuse us now. And this will be followed by the presentation on the short presentation on key issues facing exporters by DG FIO, which will be followed by discussions where the state governments and other export promotion councils and industries may interact. DG FIO, please.